Welcome to your yoga practice. For today's practice, you may wish to have blocks or a chair. Get whatever you need to make yourself feel comfortable for a good practice today, something that supports you. And when you're ready, please come to a seated position on the mat. For today's class, we're going to be paying a lot of attention to detail. And part of the reason we pay attention to detail in our asana practice is in yoga, we ask you to begin to do a self-study practice, noticing where you are, who you are, what serves you, and what does not. So for today's practice, as you move through the asana practice, we'll pay attention to detail in your body. And we'll also be drawing some attention to detail in your breath and perhaps in your mind. For now, settle yourself on the mat. Bring yourself to the present moment. Let everything else go. Begin to pay attention to your breathing. Drawing the breath in and out of the body. As you pay attention to your breathing, notice how you're sitting. Are your sitting bones back and apart? Are your shoulders over your hips? Can you lift your heart space a little bit higher, tone your belly? Can you lengthen just the tip of your tailbone? And maybe grow long through the crown of the head. Take your shoulders up to your ears, back towards the back body, and broaden them as you release them down. Shoulder blades on the back. Bring your hands to a resting position on your upper thighs. Then tilt your chin, close your eyes, or soften your gaze. And check into your mind. Let the breath draw you back to the mat and take you inside yourself. Begin to notice the cells of your body, the joints, the tissues, and see if you can make a little more space in there. And then begin to deepen your breathing, making it feel good for you. You can do Nadi Shodhana, you can do box breathing, Samavriti, three-part breathing. What feels good for you today? Part of yoga is noticing what you need in your practice, giving yourself permission to tailor your practice to yourself and your needs for the particular day that you're on. Take one more round of your form of breathing, then let that go. Notice whether you're clenching your jaw, whether you've drifted off the mat. Come on back. And when you're ready, bring your hands together in front of your heart space. Take a deep breath in, lifting your heart center. And exhale that. Press your palms together. Set an intention for your practice. And open your eyes. Good. And we're going to begin today's practice with a foot massage. Excellent. I'll be mirroring you today. You may see a couple of my expert yoga masters wandering in and out of class. I have a few small dogs that like to join me in yoga practice, and I love the attention they bring to the practice. When you're ready, take your right foot over your left thigh and begin to rub through the sole of the foot, paying attention to the details, those spots on your foot where you may need a little more attention. Give the foot a little more tension there. Interlace your fingers in between the toes, massage the toes, the mounds. Maybe spread the webbing of your fingers down to the webbing of your toes, and then begin to circle your ankle. First in one direction, then in the other direction. noticing how it feels, noticing if one direction you can get deeper circle than the other, not to judge. Coming on back to the center, wiggle the foot out, spread your fingers, spread the toes. Keep those toes spread wide as you peel the hand away. Stretch the top of the foot, then flex it. Good. Grab a hold of the big toe mound, little toe mound, separate the foot, give the top of the foot a good wiggle. Just restoring some mobility in the foot. Release that. Clap the foot, then paddle it. Make a fist. Gently tap the sole of the foot. Grab a hold of the ankle. Shake it out. And grab a hold of the outer edge of the foot. Hug that shin into your forearm. Open up the hips, the sitting bones. Release that foot down to the mat. Bring the head of the femur back into your hip socket. Switch sides. Rubbing through the sole of the other foot. Noticing the small spots on this foot that feel different, that maybe need a little more attention. Interlace the fingers in between the toes, seeing if you can get the webbing of the fingers down to the webbing of the toes, massaging the toes, the mounds, circling the ankle. First in one direction, then the other. Good. Come on back to center. Wiggle the foot out. Spread the fingers, spread the toes. Keep those toes spread as you peel the hand away. Stretch the top of the foot. And flex it. Then grab a hold of the big toe mound, little toe mound. Separate the top of the foot apart. Give it a good wiggle. Release that. Clap the foot. Then gently paddle the sole of the foot. Make a fist. Tap the sole of the foot, front to back to front, side to side. Release that. Shake it out. Grab a hold of the outer edge of the foot. Hug the shin in. Open up that hip. Release the foot out in front of you. Bring the head of the femur back into the hip socket. Now, whichever way you crossed your legs at the beginning of class, can you cross your legs your second favorite way this time? Excellent. Fingertips next to your hips. Grow long through the side body. Keep that length as you release your arms out in front of you. Reach them overhead, then reach them wide. Reach them in front, overhead, wide again. 2 more times, reaching the arms forward, overhead, and wide. Keeping your shoulders plugged in. The shoulders aren't coming up to your ears. Release that out. Interlace your hands forward, overhead. Reach them wide. And can you take a twist and float the arms down? Then float the arms up to the sky. Down to the other side of the mat, taking a twist. Making sure your hips don't come unrooted. Keeping long through the spine. Just allowing the flow to be your own. Maybe noticing whether your breath is matching your movement. And noticing what happens if you do match the breath to the movement. Coming on back to the center. Release it out. Check into your breath. Come back to the mat. Inhale your arms overhead. Exhale, release the right hand down. Left hand reaches out to the side. And we take side stretches, moving from one side to the other. Noticing when our hips become unrooted, keeping the hips rooted. Noticing what flow you need today. Do you need to move a little bit faster, or would it feel good to slow down? Noticing perhaps when your shoulders become unplugged and start to reach towards your ears. Couple more side stretches. Your version, make it feel good for you. And come on back to the center. And we're going to lay down now on the mat. Taking a supine position. Your knees are bent, soles of the feet on the floor. We'll go your shoulder blades under your heart space. And we're going to move just our arms to begin class. So I'd like you to inhale your arms up to the sky. Exhale them overhead. And then sweep them around. Back to your side body. Do that a few more times at your own pace, inhaling the arms up to the sky, over your head, and then sweep them all the way around. Inhale, Exhale, just noticing how it feels. Couple more times at your own pace. You're doing a great job. After your next round, please come to a place of stillness with your hands. And this time we're going to move our legs. So we're going to keep our upper body still, but we're going to move the legs. You're going to inhale and lift the feet off the mat, keeping the knees parallel. Draw them in towards your chest, and then release your heels down to the ground. In towards the chest. Release the heels to the ground, doing that a few times at your own pace, making it feel good for you. Noticing when you let your belly go, what happens. And maybe notice the difference between letting your belly go and toning your belly and strengthening your core as you move just through your legs. 2 more times. Release those feet down. We're going to repeat the arms 1 more time. Inhaling up, overhead, sweeping them out to the side. Good, you're doing a great job. Last time. Come to a place of stillness with your hands. We're going to repeat those legs 1 more time. If you like the knees bent and that feels good for you, you can keep your knees bent. The invitation is to see what happens if you straighten your legs as you lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. I have a target of blocks. Lift and lower. Couple more times. Noticing where your jaw clenches, let that go. See if you can find a place of stillness. Release that out, bend the knees, soles of the feet on the floor. Just rest it out. Take your hands to your belly, close your eyes, check into your breath. Excellent. Now, can you take your arms out to the side of the mat in a T position, and then bend your elbows, palms up towards the ceiling so your arms are in cactus arms. Excellent. Keep your arms there. Lift your feet off the floor. Knees are bent. Can you send your feet towards the front of the mat so that your knees are just over your hips? They're not back towards your chest or out towards the front of the mat. They're right over your hips. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale. Can you take your knees out to the right side of the mat, only to the place where you can keep those shoulder blades rooted on the mat? If the shoulder starts to pop up, you bring the knees back towards the midline. Inhale the knees back to center. Exhale them the other way. And you pause and you notice where that spot is where your shoulder starts to pop off the mat and you back off a little bit. Go to both sides a few more times, giving yourself permission to pause and activate your belly, your tailbone. Then come on back to center. Release the knees, the feet down. Bend your knees. Please roll to the side. And then when you're ready, please come on up to a seated position. Excellent. And then turn on around. I'd like to take a table position. And when you're ready, on an inhale, release your belly. Lift your heart space and your tailbone for cow pose. And on an exhale, arch your spine like an angry cat. And take a few rounds of cat-cow at your own pace. Then meet me back in table position. Melt your heart space, tone your belly, lengthen your tailbone. And we're going to move through a flow. Let me show the flow to you first, and then we'll do it together. So from table position, we're going to step our feet back into plank position. And then we're going to come back to table position. And then we're going to come to plank position and then to table. Do it with me now. Table position. Step your feet back. Straighten the legs, plank position. Tone your belly, lengthen your tailbone. Can you shift your shoulders over your wrists? Bend the knees. Table position. Move through plank and table a few times at your own pace. Noticing how that feels for you. And then meet me back in table position. Excellent. Adding up, we're going to move from table to plank. Squeeze the elbows in, come down to chaturanga, and then press back up to table. Ready? Do it with me. Table position, plank position, chaturanga, knees, chest and chin down if you'd like. Press yourself back to table position. A few more times at your own pace. Noticing whether you're squeezing your elbows in towards the side body. When you're finished, meet me back in plank pose. Adding up. Let me show it to you. We'll go from table to plank to chaturanga to baby cobra. Table, plank, chaturanga, baby cobra. If you prefer up dog, you can do up dog. Join me for table, plank, chaturanga, baby cobra. Going at your own pace, making the practice yours, noticing what pace feels good for you. And when you're finished, please meet me back in table pose. Excellent. Now, we're just going to move from table to dog, to table, to dog. Join me, taking a few rounds at your own pace, moving from table to dog. You're doing a great job. See what happens if you slow down your pace. If you maybe pause in the table and then pause in the dog. The next time you get to your dog position, walk your feet forward a little bit so you're taking a short dog. Good. Can you lift your right hand and reach it towards the left ankle for dog with a twist? Breathe in and out. Press that left hand into the mat. Claw the mat. Look up under your left armpit. Can you smile? Come back to center. Switch sides. Left arm comes to the right ankle. You claw the mat with your right hand. Press it firmly into the mat. Look up under your right armpit. Come on back to center. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Take 3 pranams, taking a long spine, exhaling and folding. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold. When you get to Uttanasana this next time, grab a hold of both elbows and just hang in ragdoll position. If you need to bend your knees a little bit, do that. Tone your belly. Notice whether you can send your hips up a little bit higher towards the ceiling. Maybe shift back and forth. Release your hands. Now we're going to be in Uttanasana for a little while. We're going to try a couple different variations of Uttanasana. You notice which variation of Uttanasana works best for you, and you keep working that one. So take 3 pranams. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, fold. If you'd like, you can take ragdoll like we did before, or if it's available to you, you can take your index finger around the big toe mound of both feet for Padangustasana. and you can hinge forward. Your elbows may come out to the sides to begin with. As you take a couple deep breaths in and out, and maybe see if you can squeeze those elbows in towards the midline. Let the head go completely. Relax, drawing shoulder blades on your back. Release the hands. Take 3 more pranams. And after your next pranam, the invitation is you can take ragdoll, you can take parangustasana, or if you'd like, you can turn your palms up towards the ceiling, fingers facing your heels, lift the sole of the foot, and slide that palm under your foot so your toes are towards your wrists for Padmasana. And you exhale down, bend the elbows, micro bend in the knees, belly is working towards the spine. Breathe in and out. Head is fully relaxed. You can shake it back and forth. 2 more deep breaths. Deep, deep stretch for the back of the leg. When you're ready, release that out. Good. Hands to your sacrum. Roll your shoulders up and back. Bend your knees. Root to rise. Go slow. Good. Exhale that out. Walk to the front of your mat. Take Tadasana mountain pose. Feet are parallel to one another, a happy distance apart. Tone your belly, lengthen your tailbone, micro bend in your knees. Hands facing forward, upper arms externally rotated, shoulder blades on your back. Inhale the arms overhead, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, bend the knees into chair pose. We're going to move from Tadasana to chair, Tadasana to chair. Arms are yogi's choice. Noticing with each chair pose whether you can bend a little more fully, whether you need to shift the weight of your hips back, whether you can lift your heart space. Without judging, it's just noticing. And next time you get to Tadasana, please stay there, adding up. For the next round, we're going to inhale the arms overhead. Exhale into chair, bring the palms together. Watch me first. We're going to take the right elbow to the outside of the left knee for a twist. We're going to come back up and we're going to do it again, twisting to the other side. Join me when you're ready. Coming into Tadasana, arms overhead. Sit back into chair, palms together, take a twist. Inhale back to Tadasana. Exhale into chair, palms together, twist in the other direction. Next time you get to Tadasana, please stay in Tadasana. The invitation is now we're going to add up. If you have blocks, please bring your blocks in front of you at their highest height. You may want those blocks for this particular version. You can repeat the versions that we just did, Tadasana to chair or Tadasana to chair to twist, or you can join me for Flamingo pose. Let's play. Oops. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhale into chair. Palms together. Take a twist to the right. Can you come up on that right foot? Sorry, twist is to the left. Come up on the right foot. Can you lift it off the floor? Squeeze everything in towards the midline. Release it down. Come on back to the center. Inhaling, arms overhead. Exhale into chair pose. Palms come together. You take the twist in the opposite direction. You lift the heel of the opposite foot. Breathe. If this is enough for you, you stay here. If you'd like to go deeper, you lift that heel towards your buttocks. Release. Come on back down. Try that again. Taking your own pace, not judging yourself, allowing yourself to go at the pace that works for you. If you wobble, you wobble. Come back into Tadasana Mountain Pose. Close your eyes. Notice your breathing. Can you deepen your exhale? And see if you can find a place of calm. We're going to try one more variation of Flamingo pose. This time we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to go from Tadasana to chair to a twist to Flamingo, lifting the knee. But then once we get there, we're going to reach that foot behind us back into lunge pose. You may wobble, you may shift, you may need your blocks, you may need your chair. It's all good. It's all about playing with your balance and noticing details. Coming to Tadasana Mountain Pose, calming yourself, calming your mind. Inhale those arms overhead. Exhale into chair pose. Take a twist, yogi's choice. Whichever side you're twisted towards, the heel of the opposite foot lifts. You bend the heel. You step it back into lunge pose, keeping the twist. Good. You can do it. And then come on back to the center. Going all the way back the way you came. Inhaling into Tadasana Mountain Pose. Arms overhead as you sink into chair pose. Palms together, take the twist. Lift the heel of the opposite foot. Breathe. As you lift that heel towards your buttocks, step it back. So you're in a lunge with a twist. Excellent. Can you come back the way you came? And release it down. Excellent. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, hinge forward into Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, step the right leg back into a right leg lunge. Bend the knee down to the mat. Lift your torso. Let's play with our arms. Inhale the arms forward and up and reach them wide, just like we did on the mat at the beginning of class. Reaching the arms forward, up, and wide. Don't let that knee come in front of the ankle. The only thing moving is your arms. Your lower body is staying stable. Couple more rounds of moving your arms. Good. Hinge forward, hands on either side of that front foot. Lift the back knee off the mat. Inhale, lift the torso. Woo! Palms come together. Can you twist towards that open front knee and take a twist? Good. Come on back to the center. Spin that back heel down to the mat. Reach the arms overhead. You're in Warrior One. Open out to Warrior Two. Straighten the front leg. Reach forward into triangle pose. Bend that front knee. Plant that front hand. Keep the top arm reaching up towards the ceiling. Can you spin that lower chest wall towards the front of the mat? Use the strength of your arm to open that knee out. Now, can you butterfly that top arm so it reaches over towards the front of the mat, then comes back to the ceiling, over and back. Side angle pose, noticing when your mind wanders off the mat. If you'd like to hold that arm forward, shoulder away from the ear, you can do that. Reach that top arm towards the ceiling. Feel like somebody's reaching to lift you up with that top arm. Come back to warrior two. Gazes over the middle finger of the front arm. Sink into warrior two. Good. Now, when you're ready, reach forward. Come back to side angle pose. Can you plant both hands on the inside of that foot? Lift that back foot. Plant the right hand, left hand to your hip crease. Can you take a revolved twist? Excellent. Breathe in and out. And when you're ready, spin the hand down. Step the front leg back to meet the back leg. Take a downward facing dog. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Hands to your hip creases, shoulders up and back, root to rise. Arms sweep overhead. We walk to the front of the mat. We have another side to go. Calming. Coming into Tadasana. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, hinge forward into Uttanasana. Take a pranam. Step your opposite leg back into a lunge. Let the knee come down to the mat. If you'd like to untuck the toes, you can. I'm going to keep my toes tucked under. I'm going to inhale, lift the torso. Arms come in front of me. Then we reach them overhead and wide. Front, overhead, wide. Only thing moving is the arms. The lower body is staying steady and stable as you move the arms. A couple more times. Take your torso forward towards the front leg. Plant your hands. Lift that back knee off the mat. Inhale, lift the torso. Arms overhead. Palms come together. They sweep towards the midline as you take a twist. Inhale back to the center. Spin that back foot down to the mat, 45-degree angle for warrior one. Breathe. Find your warrior one. And when you're ready, open out to infinity, arms reaching to infinity into warrior two. Breathing in and out. Taking a rest, straighten that front leg. Good. Reach that torso forward. Tip your torso and your arms into triangle pose. Good. Now, can you bend that front knee? Bring the front hand down to the block or the mat. Use your stability of your arm against the knee to keep it opened out. And begin to butterfly that top arm open and closed. Open and closed. Good. You're doing a great job. Come on back through warrior two. Take a break. Breathe in and out. Gazing over those front fingers. Torso reaching back. Come on back to side angle pose. Then bring both hands on the inside of that front foot. Lift that back heel off the mat. Good. Breathe. Can you plant your left hand? It can be on the block or on the mat. Opposite hand to your hip crease. Twist in the opposite direction. Reach that arm overhead for the revolved twist. Breathe. Windmill that top arm down to the mat. Step the front leg back to meet the back leg into downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Breathing in and out. Deep breaths. If you'd like to bend your knees and take a child's pose, you do that. What works for you? When you're ready, please come to a standing position. I'm going to face you. We're going to be working on tree pose. We'll do tree pose a couple times, or you can join me for half lotus, or I'll show you a variation. We're going to try half lotus with a forward bend. So the invitation is for yogi's choice. You do what works for you. Bring your blocks in front of you on the mat. I'm facing you so that you can see me. Shift your weight into your left foot. Bring your right foot to your inner thigh, the ankles, the outer edge of the heel. You can open those arms out for a balance. You can stay here, or if you'd like to try number 4 legs, you can do that. Or if you'd like to try half lotus, you grab a hold of that foot, fold it all the way into your hip crease, and let that knee fold down. Hands together in front of your heart space. So you're in tree, you're in a number 4 position with your legs, or you're in half lotus. Bend your knee. Sorry, if you're in tree, stay where you are. If you're in half lotus or number 4, bend your knee. Hinge your torso forward. Hands reach towards the blocks. As you hinge forward, straighten that leg. Can you walk your fingertips down to the floor? Can you walk them back to the tops of the blocks? Bend your knee. Going back out the way you came. So you've been balancing in tree for a long time and figure 4 for a long time, or joining me in the forward bend. Come out of the pose. Calm your breathing. Great job, everyone. Let's try the other side. So shift your weight into your left leg. Bring the sole of the right foot. Shift your weight of your foot into your right leg. Bring the sole of the opposite foot into your inner thigh, either side of the knee or the ankle, or you can rest it on top of the foot if you'd like. Arms overhead. Good. If you're joining me for the variation, you can bring your ankle over top of that knee for a figure 4. Or if you'd like to try half lotus, you fold that foot all the way in towards your hip crease. You open the knee down towards the mat. Open your heart space. Bend your knee. Gently, gently. Oh. Bend your knee. Good. Hinge your torso forward. Fingertips to the blocks. Reach, reach, reach all the way down. As you straighten that standing leg, you can walk the blocks down. You can walk your fingertips to the floor if you'd like. Coming back out the way you came. Excellent. Using your accessories if you need them. Coming back to a standing position. And release the arm, release the leg. Shake it out. Good. Move your blocks, please bring them to the front of your mat and come to a seated position on your mat. Excellent. Please come into staff pose. We're going to work on Janu Shirshasana. So please bend your right knee and then open it out towards the mat. Bring the sole of the foot to that inner thigh. Inhale your arms overhead. Exhale, can you hinge forward? That rounding the spine, can you grab a hold of that foot or either edge of the foot and leg? Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, walk those fingertips forward. Foot is flexed. Knee is facing the ceiling. Toes are facing the ceiling. Janu Shirshasana. Come on back to the center. Can you open that left leg up? Good. We're going to work on a variation. So inhale your arms overhead. Exhale, reach them towards the side. Can you rest that left forearm on the ground just inside your left leg? Can you reach the arm overhead? Now can you reach it forward, overhead, towards the side so you open your heart space. Keep that heart space open as you reach the arm forward, overhead. Open that heart space one more time. Reach the arm forward, overhead. Open the heart space, dial it open. Now keep that heart space open. Can you reach the arm overhead? Can you maybe reach the toes on that leg? Breathe. Come on back to the center. Plant your right hand down. Lift your hips. Lift the left arm overhead. Just get a good stretch. Come on back to the center. Let's switch sides. Janushirshasana side 2. So whichever leg you were on, the opposite knee bends in and opens out. Knee is facing the ceiling, toes are facing the ceiling. Lift your heart space. Bend at your hip creases as you walk your hands forward. As you inhale, grow long. Exhale, walk the fingertips forward. If you have the ability today, you can grab a hold of those toes and bend your elbows. Sternum is in line with the quadricep muscle. Breathing in and out. Come on back to the center. Can you slide that right leg open? And we're going to repeat what we did on the other side. Good. So you're going to inhale the arms forward, up overhead, open. Can you lean towards the right leg? Release that forearm and the elbow to the floor. Good. Now that top arm reaches forward, overhead, open. Dial that shoulder open. Keep it there. Reach the arm forward, overhead. Can you open, lift, 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 and lengthen? One more time. Arm comes forward, overhead, open. Maximum openness of your heart space. Now keep that heart space open as you bring that arm towards the toes of the opposite leg. Good. Couple deep breaths in and out. Let the body open up. Come on back to the center. Plant that left hand. Reach the right arm overhead as you lift the hips for a stretch. Release that down. Excellent. And when you're ready, please come to a seated position on your mat. We're not finished yet. It's okay. We're going to take boat pose next. So if you recall at the beginning of class, we lifted our feet independently of our torso. We're going to do that again today. So take your torso, slide your torso back so you're on the flat part of your sitting bones. Can you lift your soles of your feet off the mat? Knees are bent. Can you reach your arms forward? Can you take them overhead and out to the side? Arms forward, overhead, out to the side, forward, overhead, out to the side. Release them down, release the legs down, take a break. Breathe. Coming back to boat pose again, hinging back, lifting those feet off the mat. Can you straighten them? Arms forward, overhead, out to the side, forward, overhead, out to the side. One more time. Release everything. Grab a hold of your knees. Give yourself a big hug. Round your back. Excellent. Now, can you roll down on your mat with control? Coming to a supine position. Take your right ankle over top of the left knee. Take the left foot off the mat. Get a stretch out of that IT band, the right quad, the thigh. You can straighten a leg if you'd like. Breathe. Bend the foot, plant it back down, switch sides. Taking your time, moving in a way that feels good for you. Straightening that lower leg if that feels good for you. Release everything down to the mat. Good. Arms come to a T position on your mat. And just as we did at the beginning of class, can you open up into cactus arms? Can you lift your feet off the mat? Squeeze your inner thighs and your heels together. Slide your legs forward so that your knees are over your hips. Keep your shoulders planted on the mat. Let your feet and knees release to the right side of the mat, keeping those shoulders planted. Noticing if you have a little more strength today. If you're a little bit lower now that you've done this a few times, come on back to the center. Take a twist in the other direction. One more time each side, going at your own pace, your own depth. If you'd like to straighten the legs, that makes it a little more challenging. When you're finished with that, bend the knees, soles of the feet on the floor. You can take a happy baby. You can bend your knees and roll around on your sacrum. You can take a stretch for your lower back or take a flow in any way that feels good to you. What do you need now? And once you've finished your own flow, meet me in Shavasana, Yogi's Choice. And once you're in Shavasana, let everything go. Let your legs separate. Your feet go to either edge of the mat. Ankles opening up, inner thighs opening up. Shoulder blades on the back. Your hands are slightly away from your hips, palms turned up. Back of the skull is back of the neck is long. Close your eyes or soften your gaze and go inside. At your own pace, please go through your body, noticing where you're holding tension. Maybe it's the jaw, maybe it's the temples. See if you can let that go. When you're ready, and to bring energy back into the body in a slow, gentle way, moving with control. Maybe wiggling your fingers, maybe your toes. Maybe you move your head from side to side. Maybe you begin to move your breath. And when you're ready, bend your knees. Please roll to the side. Remain there for another few moments of class. And then draw your knees closer to your heart space. Use the strength of your hands to come back to a seated position just as we did at the beginning of class. Taking your sitting bones back and apart. Growing long through the side body, shoulders up to your ears, back down the back and broaden. Release them down. Close your eyes, tilt your chin or soften your gaze. And draw your attention back to your intention for yoga practice today. Sometimes all we need is an intention, something to work towards. And then we can shift all of our details in a way that helps us realize that intention. So my wish for you as you take a yoga practice off your mat and out into the world, that every detail helps you realize the bright, beautiful being you've always been. Inhale your hands together in front of your heart space. Draw your thumbs back to your heart space. Lift your heart space a little bit higher. Lift your chin towards the sky. Take a deep breath. Lift the corners of your mouth towards the sky. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Have a beautiful rest of your day.